once you get entrenched into it, you realize, okay, hold on. Like, these people may not be nice. Like, especially coming from Texas, I was working in Texas. Yeah. There's just that Southern hospitality that really can't be touched in comparison. But the people here are a lot nicer than I thought. And when it comes to like the culture itself, like the food, the nightlife, you know what I'm saying? It's not ideal, but it's great in comparison to what I was accustomed to.
Got peek through the back, so we creepin'. Caps are blue, so you know that we begin. And I'm back for the night.
Welcome, y'all. Welcome to another episode of 7 p.m. in Philly. I'm Steve. I got my co-host Scooter here with me.
Yo. We in the building.
We back in the building. And guys, we got a special guest here. And you know, I told y'all, we only gonna get better. It's only gonna get better. We only gonna have better guests. I'm gonna become a better host, and I'm just gonna do everything great for you guys. You know what I mean? So today, not only I have arts and culture reporter, Philadelphia Inquirer, soon to be author Earl Hopkins.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, appreciate
Steve
the
is the intro god, man.
Yes. I gotta get it right, baby. Gotta get it right. We're not gonna do it at all, baby.
Yes,
so, yo, Earl, man, thank you for being here, man.
My man. No, thank you for inviting me, bro.
Of course, man.
Yeah, thank you, bro. Thank you for coming, man. Welcome.
Guy.
Of course. I know this is your first time on the pod. We're gonna have some fun. We're gonna talk our shit, you know what I'm saying? And you know, we're gonna do it, man. So for the people that don't know you, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, man?
Yeah, so I was born and raised Columbus, Ohio. So I'm a Midwest kid through and through. Right. Like, that's my foundation. I grew up in East Columbus specifically, which is its own like separate thing, I think, you know, in a sense. So and I just been floating around the industry as far as a journalist goes. Like, I started out in Evansville, Indiana, Southwest, right? Like, if you're not of that like environment, you don't really know what it is, where it is, but it's on the southwest tip of Indiana. And just been bouncing around. My latest stint was in Austin, Texas. I was covering ACL Fest, South by Southwest.
Oh, nice.
But I found that Philly was the place I needed to be at. My girl wanted to be a physician assistant, so we got her in school. And then I'm working for the Inquirer, doing my thing, covering arts, music, film, all that stuff. So, Philly is where it's at.
Nice.
Welcome to Philly, man.
Oh, thank you.
Hold on, I gotta ask you though, because you from the Midwest. You say soda or pop?
I say pop. We always said pop.
That shit makes my blood boil, dog. Something about pop, because I used to live in Aurora, Illinois. So coming from the East Coast, and soda to pop was like a culture shock all on its own.
People say that, like, but I feel like even in Ohio, like I got family in Cleveland. They all say, nah, we say soda. And what do you say when somebody hands you like water, like if you or like a drink, like they're like, yo, can I get a sip of that? What do y'all say? Do y'all say, can I get a air drink, or do you say, can I get a waterfall?
Oh shit!
I
just said, let me get a sip of that fucking drink.
Okay, a little bit more direct.
Yeah, for me, it's like, let me get a sip, or be like, yo, let me sample. Let me sample that.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like, you know, let me get a sample.
You from New York? I feel like the lingo is always different in New York.
Oh my god, they got their own language up there, bro.
So you said you from Cleveland, Ohio.
Columbus,
Ohio. My bad. So are you a Cavs fan, or are you not, or
all Cleveland? And that's because my pops and my family, they all from East Cleveland.
Okay.
So if you want to like just to contextualize, that's like the Kensington of like Ohio. I ain't have a choice. Like it was Cleveland Browns, Cavs, Guardians. Now they were the Indians, Guardians.
Right.
What about Ohio State?
Ohio State through and through, because Columbus, if you go through Columbus, I don't know if y'all been.
Nah, I've been to Cleveland. I've been to Cleveland.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you go to Columbus, it's all scarlet and gray. Ohio State is our sports team.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Because it's in Columbus, right?
Yeah, it's in the heart of Columbus, downtown too.
Yeah. That's what's up, man. So now that you're here in Philly, like tell us about what that transition has been. You mentioned, going to Austin, Texas. So take us a little bit through, your journey to get to Philly and how it feels to be here.
Yo, so I will say, like, growing up in the Midwest, you always hear about the East Coast in general. You're like, yo, I don't know, like, people are like assholes, like they're just it's a different way of life. If it's a different pace, and that's true, it is. So when I moved here February of 2023, I was like, yo, this is just a different level. But once you get entrenched into it, you realize, okay, hold on, like, these people may not be nice. Like especially coming from Texas, I was working in Texas.
Yeah.
There's just that Southern hospitality that really can't be touched in comparison. But the people here are a lot nicer than I thought. And when it comes to like the culture itself, like the food, the nightlife, you know what I'm saying? It's not ideal, but it's great in comparison to what I was accustomed to.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So I felt comfortable.
Yeah. That's cool. For me, when I think of like, Ohio, I mean, just the name itself is like Ohio. I'm thinking about, country bumpkins, you know what I'm saying?
Cornfields.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Cold as shit.
Cold, just people just playing freaking what's that shit where they play with
cornhole.
Cornhole. You know what I'm saying?
Cornhole. Staple.
Yeah. That's what I think of, man. So,
Cornhole and beers, bro.
So yeah. And I don't think of any like, real brothers being from Ohio. So meeting someone like you, bro, it's refreshing.
That's Ohio. Like you're naming Ohio. Like if it wasn't for Cincinnati, Columbus, Cleveland, that would be Ohio because it's so rural in nature.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Correct.
So you're right.
Yeah.
I've driven through Ohio a bunch of times. I got people in Toledo as well. It's different out there, but it's totally different than here. Yeah. It's totally different than here. What is the food like in Ohio though? Because I know Austin is crazy.
Do you have like a staple dish? Like, certain places is pizza and, Philly's cheesesteak. So is there a staple dish out there?
So I would say in Columbus, compared to a Cleveland, a Cincinnati, they all have staples. So like Cincinnati has Skyline chili. Have you heard of that?
No, I haven't either.
So Skyline chili, it's like, I don't even know if they have a hot dog with it. They just overload shit with chili and cheese. It's terrible though, but it's theirs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Cleveland, they have, is it a Polish boy, I think, which is like, it's almost like a sausage, fries, barbecue sauce. I'm probably like saying the wrong ingredients, but that's essentially what it is.
Like some sauerkraut in that joint.
All that.
Yeah.
And so Columbus doesn't have a staple per se.
Yeah.
But like, if we had to choose one, it would be Donato's Pizza because it was rooted in the area. It's just a square pizza, tavern style, where it's cut up in like mini squares and shit. But in essence, though, the food compared to where I've been, where y'all have been, I know we talk off camera.
Right.
It's not touching any. You know what I mean? It's not that good. In essence,
Have you been to Detroit? Because I hear Detroit pizza is the squares like that too, right?
It's different. And like all the hype is Chicago deep dish.
Chicago, yep.
You know what I'm saying? Because Midwest, like growing up in Columbus, that's the second largest city in the Midwest. People don't know that.
I did not know that.
So our vacations, our mini vacays would be in Chicago in like the summer.
Yep. Go to the lake.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you know how people are when they are not familiar with the area. So they always go to like a place like Giordano's. Because they're like, oh, I just heard of it. Like I looked up Google, deep dish, Giordano's. And so it's not as good, but Detroit style pizza is the best. Like with that type of style, they do it the best in my opinion.
Yeah, okay.
Easily.
Nice.
I fucked with Cleveland, man. Cleveland was a good time. I got to go back to Ohio. I got in some trouble in Cleveland.
I've never been out there. I've never had a.
You would like Cleveland?
Yeah, I've never had a need to like. Yo, you know what? Yo, we going to vacation to Cleveland. Yo.
Right.
I mean, Braun's not there anymore. It's kind of like, what do we? I mean,
football team's good now.
Right.
Yeah,
Football
team's good.
Right.
They solid. We got a good, you know what I mean? Good nucleus right now. We can build up off it.
Yeah.
So being from out there, like, a lot of people don't know what like LeBron meant to that city. So when he left, did you guys feel some type of way about it? Like, were you able to tell the difference, or people back home were you saying like, damn, the city now dead, or the city didn't have the same energy no more? You know what I mean? So
it was a massive blow because LeBron, as y'all know, is rooted in Ohio. Like he was born in Akron, played for the Cleveland Cavaliers, first pick in 04, 03 draft.
03, yeah.
And so when he left, that was like he was the economy to an extent of Cleveland.
To a big extent.
You feel me?
Yeah.
Like everybody saw I'm the Witness or whatever that billboard was in downtown Cleveland.
Yeah.
And so when he left, it was just like, damn, like we lost a son of the city of Cleveland in an extent, but like the biggest figure of Ohio at that point. So but I will say once he made his return though, and then won the chip, it like solved all that disdain that we had because people was burning jerseys and all that.
Yes, they was.
Crazy.
I think that was the first time I've ever seen someone burn a jersey before. I think it started with LeBron. Like, because before then, like people were upset, but I've never seen someone burn a fucking jersey on camera. Fam.
On camera, like. And they putting this shit on Sports Center.
Yeah,
You know,
it was on Sports Center.
it was
People
going crazy.
were like, it was. But see, I never understood why people were so upset. I guess because the way he went about it.
Yeah, that was a big part of it.
But at the same time, it's just kind of like, nowadays it's different because people pick up and leave all the time. But I guess it was like really the first time where someone broadcasted and made like spectacle out of them leaving. Yeah. But I didn't see any big deal with it. I was like, he's taking his talents to South Beach.
But as an Ohioan, you like, yo,
I was gonna say, it's
you
history
did
behind
the
it.
decision, bro.
Right.
Like you televise this shit. And then we have to see it at face value. We're finding out what millions of other people are finding out.
Yeah,
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you have no direct loyalty to all fandom. We're not saying that, but it's yo, the way you went about it, I'm taking my talents to South Beach. Like that statement echoes in every Ohioan's
Oh, my
mind.
God.
When we look
Right.
back at
That shit
that
was
moment.
a nightmare for them. That shit was a nightmare, bro.
Man, and Cleveland just got a history of letdowns with sports, especially with like the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah.
So I think that history kind of just pushed people over the edge a little bit.
It plays a part because
Yeah,
when
it does.
I'm a Browns fan, I'm a lifelong Browns fan for better or worse. Mostly worse. Like, you know what I'm saying? Even
Bad, bro. I love how you just snuck that right in.
Even when you have
been
like
ugly.
a Deshaun Watson who's supposed to be like,
Oh,
the
generational
new
talent.
face, generational, going to change
Oh,
everything.
my God.
Bodied it in Houston before CJ Stroud ever stepped on the field.
Hell
You know what
yeah.
I'm saying? To that extent, like, and then he's shitting the bed. So it's just like, yo, Cleveland just continues to get that. It's like a curse.
Disappointment after disappointment after disappointment.
Facts.
Damn. So let's switch gears a little bit, man. I want to hear about just your uprising in journalism, where you went to school, and just like how you maneuvered through school and then up the ranks, because you got to go through school to be a journalist,
For
right?
sure.
So how you moved up the ranks to shit now the Philadelphia Inquirer, bro.
Right.
Take us through that journey.
That's a big deal, bro.
Yeah,
so
that's huge.
salute to you, bro.
Oh,
like
yeah,
for real,
thank
for
you.
real, man.
Thank you.
Whoever hasn't given you your flowers, man, you getting that shit here, bro.
Absolutely.
Because that shit is a big deal.
It is, man.
Thank you.
Especially being a brother. Like
Yes, for sure.
That's
sure.
the given, but you
Yeah.
already know.
Yeah.
You got to represent. And I think where really it started, like, my freshman year, I started writing for like I was just trying my hand at everything. Like what inspired me to get into journalism was Stephen A. Smith. Like he
yeah, shout
inspired
out.
me off top. Like
Yeah.
I saw him at 14 or 15 years old on ESPN. My favorite show was First Take with him and Skip going at it, I'm sure.
Yep.
And so I was like, yo, I could really take this as far, you know what I'm saying? I could take this far. I could really make this into a career. And I always loved writing, but I never like put it into a journalistic like form. And so I did that my freshman year. I started writing for like sports magazines and other student run publications. And I was like, yo, I'm finding something here. But what I'm realizing, the only thing I really like is writing about music, fashion, film, and art. So I was like, all right, this is the path I'm going to take.
Yeah.
And so I did my due diligence. My senior year, I transitioned from student run mags to like an actual fully operated newspaper in Athens, Ohio. That's my alma mater, Ohio University.
Nice.
It was at the Athens Messenger where I got my first column. I was writing about music scenes in a city that nobody outside of Ohio has ever heard of, but it gave me that bolt of confidence like, yo, I could really do this. And so ironically, my first job out of school was like I told y'all, Evansville, Indiana. And I was an education and family issues reporter. Totally outside the realm, but I knew
Totally different.
But it gave me that foundation though. Like I hated it, but I saw the value in it.
Right.
And so once I like got my wings up under me, I was like, okay, we could take this further. Like this is not only an interest of mine, this is now a passion and a career of mine. Nice. And so my hometown paper, I remember growing up, driving down North High Street and seeing the marquee of my hometown newspaper in Columbus, the Columbus Dispatch, and saying, yo, I want to work there. Like, I want to do this, Dad, Mom.
That's great.
2020, I got my job at the Columbus Dispatch, my hometown paper, and that's when I got my start in arts and culture reporting, and I've just taken it off since then.
Right.
Yeah. So how did you get down to Austin?
I got down to Austin after about a year and some change at my hometown paper. They loved, what's ironic about that though, like when I actually applied, I had the wrong like name that of the newspaper I was applying to.
Oh,
like imagine that. Like imagine you applying for
Damn.
Facebook and you put in
Twitter.
Like, like,
Put in MySpace.
Black Planet.
yo, but they took a liking to me for some reason.
Right.
Like, and so I was just like, yo, and this is, mind you, like I had moved to Indiana, of course, for my first job, then moved back to Ohio. So I was like, yo, Texas, like that seems kind of scary.
Yeah.
I've never been to Texas.
Yeah.
Let's start there.
Yeah.
Still?
Yeah, no.
Oh, you gotta go. You gotta go to Austin. You have to go to Austin.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's
I've heard mixed reviews. Certain people
Austin
say
was
it's
loved.
cool, and certain people's like, it's great.
I
But some people
guarantee
kinda like,
those people that said they don't like Austin are the people that love Houston.
Yeah,
I feel like that's
And
it.
certain people say like Houston is basic, it's whack. You know what I'm saying? Certain people like, yo, Austin is dope. You know what I'm saying? So it's a mixed review. One of my homies, he actually moved out from LA to Houston. And he lived out there, got his whole crib built out there,
Bruh.
whatever. So it's kind of like it's like the great migration is happening over
Oh
there.
yeah, big time. 2020 was huge for that.
So yeah,
it
but
was
yeah,
big for
but go ahead. So how did the whole thing in Texas work out for you there?
Yeah, like I just did a series of interviews. So basically, my hometown paper up until the Philadelphia Inquirer, I worked under the USA Today network. It's like USA Today owns like 200 plus newspapers around the country. It's the biggest news organization essentially in the country.
Damn.
And so through that network, I applied to an Austin gig. I was going to be the at-large culture reporter there. So I was doing everything that I do here, I was doing there.
Okay.
And man, I took a visit out there before I officially moved there. I had already accepted the job and I was like, yo, this is it. Like, this is it. Everything that I would want out of a space like that, it was present. It was almost like for me, my hometown just in the South. And so I was like, yo, so once I moved there and my girl moved there, I was like, yo, this is it. And the culture itself, like the people, like just made that experience what it was, man. Like I had a blast. And like I told you, I miss it every day.
Really?
I do, except the heat. That heat is crazy.
That heat is different, man.
Crazy.
Right.
I went down in it was like July for a shoot, and it was hot as a mug, bro. That heat is different.
Yeah,
it's different,
and
it's humid.
Yeah,
It's
that's what I'm saying.
humid
Is it like
too.
dry heat?
No,
or?
it's humid.
It's humid, bro.
humid.
It's humid because we have a river downtown, and I stayed in South Austin, so I would go going out and stuff. You know what I mean? Like you go downtown.
Downtown, yeah.
And the thing about tech, like this, I wasn't used to this because of course I grew up in Ohio. Like I'm thinking it's gonna be hot, like 100, 105. Okay, cool. Like during the day, I'll just avoid that shit.
Right.
But at night,
It was still-
thankfully it was cool.
Oh, okay.
It was still fucking hot.
Oh.
It's still hot.
It's like sticky hot, bro.
Sticky hot.
It's different down there, but man, Terry Black's is my shit. That barbecue is crazy, man.
Yeah, I gotta make a trip out there.
You gotta go.
I gotta
bro.
make a trip out
you,
there.
You will enjoy it a lot. Yeah,
Okay.
for sure.
All right,
Yeah.
cool. So how was it? So for going from Texas to Philadelphia,
That's night and day. right
how
there.
was the transition from that? Like, how was it? Because I'm originally from New York, and like we talked off camera, and I told you moving from New York, which is about 2 hours away from Philadelphia, it's such a big culture shock and see the difference. But moving from Texas to Philadelphia, that's an even huge culture shock. I mean, it's that much bigger. So how was that for you?
It was surreal in the sense that, again, like you hear these misconceptions about Philly. You hear that, like, while it's a very real thing, you hear about the violence and it's sensationalized a bit more when you're not in it and immersed into it, right?
Yeah,
and
big
then you hear about like everything else that's wrong with the city and being human, right? Like you go on TikTok, Kensington, what's that?
Oh,
like, you know what I'm
God.
saying? So you see like the extremes of the city, and then you start to have this idea that it's all of the city, encompasses everything. And so at first, before moving there, I was nervous. And to be transparent, I wasn't sure if it was the right move, you know? But once I got here, started connecting with folks. Like, these are some of the best people I've met, period. Y'all included. That I've met in every other city that I've been in outside of my hometown since graduating college 5 years ago. So, Philly has a certain, vibe to it, of course. It's its own entity in a sense, but it reminds me of the places that I always envisioned being in. And I'm so glad to be in this space, man. Like, it's dope as hell. And working at the Inquirer made it that much better to an extent.
Right.
So yeah.
That's big, man. That's big. No one has ever explained it that eloquently. You just made it sound so nice.
Yeah, man.
But that's what it is, though. And honestly, just being an American and living in America, there's a hood everywhere.
Oh, everywhere. Even in the suburbs,
even
bro.
in the
100.
suburbs. But it's masked different. I mean, it looks different. You know
It's
what I mean?
reported on differently, too.
Yeah,
Definitely.
and you know, instead of someone on the corner, there's someone in the house. I mean, everything's behind closed doors instead of being in front of your face. You know what I'm saying? So it's pretty cool that you explained it that way.
Yeah.
So now that you're here in Philly, like, what's one of your things that you like doing out here? What's one of your things that you enjoy about Philly? Like, not to put you on the spot, but what's one of your things? Because for me, like,
Sin City.
don't get this man in trouble, man.
Don't get me in
Don't get in trouble.
My fault. I thought you was asking me. My bad.
Come on, man. This guy, man.
Yo.
Can't take him nowhere, bro.
Cheerleaders. Oh, shit.
Can't take this nigga nowhere, man. This nigga nowhere. Well, yeah. What's one of your favorite pastimes? As you're here,
That's tough. Like I would say, like Philly is like the biggest. The sports fandom level is insane.
Oh my God.
It's unlike anything I've ever experienced.
It's
So
ridiculous.
crazy.
They're maniacs, bro.
They're maniacs.
They're fucking maniacs.
And so being immersed into it, being on the good side,
Right.
'cause I got my Phillies hat, and I got my Eagles shit, so I'm like, all right, I'm good.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
You gotta
And
wear your
so-
colors, bro.
Yo, and you'll chat it up with just the most random people, you know what
yeah,
I'm saying?
for
And it's a
sure.
good culture. So I would say going to a sports event is like no other experience I've had in any other city I've been or lived in. But also, like, I'll say this, like, my favorite nightlife spot, while nightlife in Philly isn't perfect,
No, it's not.
if you find your pocket, you good.
Yes.
Like, so my
Yes.
pocket, I'm kind of bourgeois,
Oh.
1940s.
yeah.
roaring-
Speakeasies.
You know what I mean? So blind bar, I'm gonna go to a blind bar. I'm gonna go to Midnight in the Wicket. You know what I'm
Nice,
saying?
nice. Okay.
I'm gonna go there.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
that's my shit.
I like Blind Barber. Blind
Yeah, I
Barber's
like Blind
cool.
Barber, too.
Blind Barber's cool. Even though you're gonna pay an arm and a leg for
Oh,
a
my.
drink.
For a fucking tequila soda.
Tequila soda.
Yeah.
But it's cool. I like the ambiance. And as you get older, you get to you enjoy the speakeasies, the dark, more vibey. You know what I'm saying?
A little slower pace.
Right. Yeah. It's so nah, I completely agree with you.
Yeah,
For sure, man.
I got a two-parter for you because you mentioned, just how reporting and how important it is, right? And how pictures are painted differently, right? So take me through like your day-to-day, right? Being the arts and culture reporter for the Philadelphia Inquirer, part one, and part two, just how you approach like your style of journalism, knowing that the narrative is so important in shaping people's, psychosis in a way. You know what I'm saying?
I think I come in human first. I think that's what a lot of journalists get wrong. Like, they wear the journalism hat.
Yes, man.
And they
Speak.
wanna, like,
Speak.
yeah. Like, you got to come human first. And what I mean by that is sometimes you'll meet people, they're having the worst day of their lives.
Yeah, man.
And so you have to be sensitive to that. Of course, you're on assignment. Of course, you have to go back to the newsroom or your home office and crank it out 30 minutes to an hour, right? But in essence, as long as you're coming in with good intentions, and that's what every journalist should have, good intentions.
You can see that shit too, man.
You can see it. You can see it in the coverage.
You can see it in the coverage.
Whether it's the writing or if they're a broadcast journalist or they do audio. You can see it. So I think that's my biggest thing. That's the biggest thing I've learned in time. It's like, make sure that people can relate to you, want to open up to you. Yeah. And oftentimes when you're not holding a mic to their face with no regard to emotion or feeling, that's when you actually get the best story. And that's when they're authentically themselves and are comfortable with you.
Yeah. That's what's up.
Yeah. And to piggyback off that, I feel like I realized what real journalism was during COVID.
Oh, man.
During COVID, during George Floyd,
Yeah.
you can see people, because when things are happening and it's crazy, because I feel like journalists and reporters, they have to be like robots. They get in front of the mic and be like, broadcasting live, it's so. Yeah, no emotion.
Yeah.
But the real journalists and the real reporters, they're like, you can see that emotion. You can feel it. And they're like, this is just a bad situation here.
Non-biased, too.
Right, non-biased. It's like they're human at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And it makes you relate to them. And that's one of the things that made me relate to CNN. What's homie's name? I forget his name.
Don Lemon?
Don Lemon.
Yeah,
Don Lemon.
Yep.
And the other
Anderson
homie.
Cooper?
Anderson Cooper.
Yeah.
And what's the other homie that his brother was the mayor, governor of New
I
York?
know you talking about.
I forget his name. Cuomo. Cuomo. Because they were real. They were honest. They made you feel the pain that they were feeling. And if something wasn't right, they was gonna say it. They was like, yo, you know what? This ain't right. This ain't cool. That's not how you go about things. And I think that's the difference between real journalism and real reporters and the regular cookie cutter reporters that just gonna just give you the story and do their job. You mean there has to be some feeling to that. So I appreciate you saying that.
For sure. And to be fair too, like you have to tote the line a little bit.
Of course,
I think
sure.
Of course, you can't have so much emotion into it that you're like disregarding an opposite side. That's something that I had to learn early as a journalist. You know, like, because I would feel I live in the community that I cover. So I feel for these people. Like, and oftentimes they are minorities, especially when it comes to black like stories. I'm like, yo, like I really try to engage with these people as if they were like my family members to an extent. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Like, so, but for those that are able to tote the line well, you know, teeter on alongside of it, like really decently, like, yo, those are the journalists I have so much high regard for because it's not easy to do.
Oh, of course not. Of course, because the job still has to be done.
Still has to be.
I mean, the job
and you have to answer to somebody too.
Correct.
Always,
Correct. And it has to be tasteful. You mean you can't, like you said, you can't pick. You can't pick either side. You just gotta do it and just do it well. You know what I'm saying? So, but nah, for sure, man.
Yeah, that's I like NPR a lot. It's interesting you brought up like the George Floyd era, that all that time. I had to stop watching the news because of how polarizing everything is and just how everything was being reported. It felt biased for a lot, but NPR has always come across to me as like very unbiased, and they do a really good job. And like you're saying, they're thoughtful and they approach it on a human level. Right. So I really appreciate that shit because, man, like we got to be careful about how we just media is crazy. It's powerful. It's very impactful to people.
It is. And so like one example, like I came into school like in college and that was in the heat of like, you know, the Trump versus who was it?
Trump Hillary.
Trump Hillary in 2016, right?
2016.
And so that
was a crazy time, bro. That was a crazy time.
The whole Trump presidency was just it was almost like a course of it, you know, of itself because like the disinformation, the misinformation, and how easily it's spread and how would it affect people's minds.
The hate speech.
Yo, everything.
Yeah.
Like it was a real one-on-one course on how largely this can affect people.
Absolutely.
Like, you know what I'm saying, as far as major decisions that they're making. So even in the George Floyd stuff, even in the pandemic stuff, because that was simultaneous. That was almost at the same time.
It was literally like bleeding into each other. Yeah.
100%. And so that's when I started journalism, is during the pandemic. And so transitioning from a newsroom, only being maybe 6 months into it, and then being in the heat of like the pandemic coverage, it was like, yo, hold on. And then you hear Trump say, yo, like he was saying some wild shit too, like during the time, like, you know,
mad wild shit.
Mad wild shit. So it's just like, bro, like we have real responsibilities. Like even for somebody like me, who I tell people jokingly, like, yo, I cover the fun shit. Like I do the fun stuff. Like I do the, you know what I mean? Like the prom's coming up. I did a story last year. I was like, yo, this is what parents are doing for prom. You know, it's cute shit, but it's like we have real responsibilities. And so like the earlier you realize that, the better off you'll be.
Right.
Absolutely.
So my question to you, right?
I know this shit about to be.
So my question to you, right? So, you know, since you're the arts and culture reporter, right? Do all your white colleagues come to you and be like, well, Earl, you know, since you're the culture and arts guy, you know, can you answer these questions? Do they come for you for everything that's all like black in a sense, you know, everything that's all urban in a sense, you mean?
I ain't gonna lie. Oftentimes that's the situation, but with someone like me, I'm the person you can do that with because I understand like y'all are coming from a good place because you understand you don't understand it. Recently, like I wrote a story about like the Travis Kelce cut. Like that's what they were calling a drop fade.
Oh my God. This has been happening since the beginning of time.
Bro, I almost threw up when I seen that for the first time. The Travis Kelce cut.
It's insane. And the New York Times did a story on it first, I would say. It did a bad job at it. And so I had to come in, you know what I'm saying, and be like, yo, this is crazy. Like I get my cuts by like, come on. Like stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like cultural stuff. There's just certain things that I'm better suited with. So I don't take offense to it because I know that they're coming from a good place. And my editors are dope. Like they genuinely are dope people. Yeah. And so it makes it easier for me to do that type of stuff. Gotcha. You know what I mean? Okay. But in past situations, I will say, like me having to argue with somebody about the spelling of do-rag. Like that's crazy.
That's wild.
Like I've been wanting to do it all my life. Like you can't do that. So
how would they?
Yeah.
How would they try to spell it, yo?
How they trying to spell
how they trying to spell it, yo?
There's only one way you can spell do-rag, bro.
I don't know.
D-E-W.
Right, bro.
Like
D-double-O?
Like Mountain Dew.
Yeah.
Do-rag.
D-double-O.
Insane, bro. Yo.
Oh man,
but I understand the place. I get it.
That's
you
hilarious.
Know what I mean?
That's hilarious.
Nah, that's fucking nuts, bro.
That's great.
Now, what speaking of impactful articles, what's one article or a couple that stuck out to you as being like really fulfilling for you?
I would say when I was working at my hometown newspaper, I met this family. It was actually through a photographer of mine. His name is Galen Morris, and so he introduced me to this pastor and his congregation, maybe like 4 to 6 people. Yeah. But in most of it, I'm not gonna lie, was most of his family, to be honest. And so like he was the Steve Harvey suit wearing John, like whatever, you know what I'm saying? He was kooky, he was a little kooky, a little odd. But
bad, he's swimming in that suit.
And so I met him, I went to his church. This had to be 2019, it was fall 2019.
Okay.
And me and my photographer go in, we first meet him. He like spritz, like holy water on us. Like, cool.
Snap.
That was the first. That was the intro. What's funny about that is my photographer is atheist. So it's like, damn, okay. Damn, all right.
Not only am I in the church, I'm getting spritzed on.
Like, that's crazy. So when I met him,
everybody gets some.
Yeah, everybody gets some.
He was handling holy water like Oprah. Hey, you get some holy water. You get some.
And so,
but go ahead, bro.
So I met bro, and so I was like, yo, dude, like I don't even know. And my photographer is the one that introduced me to him and the idea of the story. And so I'm like, okay, cool. This could be like a typical feature story. We just feature an oddball and then we kind of keep it moving. Right. But when I met him, I was like, yo, this dude is a deep thinker. Like he has 16 children with his wife. They live in North Columbus, which is like it's low income, it's like poverty stricken type of area. But
you said 16?
16. 16. Same woman. Same woman. And I think he actually has a total of 19. So like it's different. It's very different. And so
you go to church and go straight to bed.
Right.
And so I meet this dude.
You the Holy Ghost tonight. What? You gonna get some of this ghost tonight.
Some of that spritz.
You get some.
No, we can't take nothing serious, though.
I'm sorry.
Nah, you good.
I'm sorry, Earl. My bad, man. My bad, bro.
And so I'm meeting with dude, and of course, you had to already have like an idea of who this person may be in your mind. And at the time, I'm like 22, 23 or something like that. So I'm like, okay, whatever. But when I went to their house, spent time with his children and everything. These kids, 4.0 students, they get up at 5 a.m. every morning to run on a nearby track. Wow. Discipline is at the center of everything they do.
I love that.
And even more so, love is at the heart of it. So I saw, like, not only am I in my hometown, am I in an area which they lived. It was like a 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom house maybe with all those children and everything, man. It opened my eyes because initially, if I didn't know better, if I didn't have deeper conversations, spent deeper time with those folks, I would have said, yo, these people, unfortunately due to circumstance, blah, 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 blah. No, at the center of the story when I wrote it, it was love. Yeah. And by doing that story, it showed me the love in which the love I have for the things that I do as a journalist. Yeah, so like that's why that was such a close touchstone for me. That's great. But yeah.
That's what's up, man.
That's great. That's awesome.
Just spending that little bit of time, bro. It shifted not only perspective, but the narrative that you was already starting to create in your mind, right? Yeah. Just naturally.
Mm-hmm. And my question for you is kind of like being a journalist, because I feel like, as human beings and as like, people watch things on the news and they just see the headline and it's kind of like they automatically go with that notion.
Absolutely.
But as being someone that's entrenched in it, that's involved in it so heavily, like what would be your advice for the people out there as far as like when articles come out and how to actually digest them? And is it actual believable? Should we go? And I don't want to get you in trouble. I don't want to get you in trouble. Is it actual? Should we actually fact check all these things before we go with the first thing that we read? Obviously, you should, but as being an insider, how do you digest certain things and how do you look at certain things?
So I think we have to do ourselves due diligence in the fact that we have to go to the right sources. Like, not every media source is the right source. Like, I'm human too. Like, I get it. I'm Gen Z. I'm 27 years old. Like, I go to Twitter or, various other social media outlets to get, like a summary of what today's news could be.
Correct.
Spark notes.
Yeah.
But we have to do our own effort and realize, what is the source that we're even absorbing this information from? Correct. And not only go by headline. You're right. Yeah. Like, you have to click on it, whether you have to subscribe or not. That's up to you. You know what I'm saying?
But see, people don't read. People don't read. They just go to the headline. Mm-hmm. Oh, so-and-so happened. And you know what they're going to do? They're going to play telephone. Do you know so-and-so happened?
Oh, it happens so much.
Too much.
Girl. Yeah. But what else happened? I don't know. I just read the headline.
Yeah.
And that's the end of it. That's always the end of it. So, but yeah, what you're saying is correct, though.
Microwave society, man.
100%. That's the issue for me as a writer, right? I was at a grips. I'm like, yo, do I see myself continuing to do this, knowing how I could work on a story for a week plus 2 weeks, a month, even like a couple months. I did a story this summer. It took 3 months to do. It was about Philly nightlife. Yeah. I'm like, yo, journalism can be a thankless job sometimes.
Oh my God.
Like, you can disseminate information like that's valuable to a community as best you can, and some people will still look at the headline, but then ultimately you just got to do what's right. You know what I'm saying? And as a reader, as a consumer, I encourage y'all, like, please, like, don't just go by the headline. Right. You're missing key details that could affect you and your community in a sense. You know what I mean?
Right,
Absolutely.
Right. So do also another question I have for you. So you're a journalist. Obviously, you write and do all this stuff. But now we live in a day and age where there's social media and everything's like video. Everything is, everyone wants to see it on screen. Do you feel like journalism and writing and people actually reading, do you think that's dying? Do you think it's kind of like in a day and age where, because before, like, the newspaper used to be a thing.
Right.
Paper boy used to come out, bop, boop, boop, right in front of your crib. Mm-hmm. Now everything's digital. Yep. But now, even that it's digital, you'll read it on your iPad or your phone or whatever. But now people rather watch a video of someone speaking to it instead of like sitting down and actually reading an article.
Even worse, like, they're listening to a summarization of some news a print journalist did. Yeah. And they're doing it poorly. Like, you know what I mean? So yes, I do, like, me as a writer, like, I'm a writer first before a journalist. Correct. Like, and I see the transition, the evolution. It's taking place for decades. Like, me going into the industry, like, I would have professors be like, yo, you shouldn't do this. Like, you're not going to make any money. It's a dying medium to an extent. So like, us in the newsroom, I can speak on this because I'm in it. Like, that's a conversation we are having. Not that it's dying, but that we need to evolve and change. Correct. And that video is the center of that. So we need to make efforts. As print journalists specifically, we need to make more efforts to be more multimedia based. I agree with you 100%.
Okay. Does that frustrate you in a sense? And like how does that, like, how do you gain motivation from that? It's kind of like, this is what I do, but it's dying right in front of our very eyes. Like, how do you deal with that frustration? How do you, like, keep going in a sense? Because it's kind of like, yo, my job is pretty much at stake in a sense. You know what I'm saying? So how do you keep going in a sense? Like, how do you, what keeps you motivated in order to keep doing what you're doing?
I heard this statement or this quote a couple weeks ago. Keep everything purpose forward. So that's what keeps me going. I mean, if I didn't know the value of journalism, I would get even more frustrated. But the truth is, I'm frustrated even knowing what purpose I serve and how, like, this information, with it being disseminated, what value it has and how it can impact certain communities. So I just have to, like, be on the front foot. I think that's also something I've had to learn in recent years. It's like, yo, when I was working for the USA Today Network, I didn't get laid off, thankfully, but a lot of my colleagues did. And these people are more talented, more experienced than most people you know. And so, like, it's a means of just staying positive, but also making efforts to continue to learn and adapt. That's all you can do, for real.
Yeah. That's a good segue into my next question, because I understand that you have penned a book, right? So, well, first of all, congratulations.
Yes, sir. Let's clap it up.
That is lit. That's lit.
Let's clap it up for that.
Did all that you just mentioned, did that play a part into you creating this? And like, just talk to us about the process of, creating the book, the title of the book, what it's about, all that jazz. But firstly, did the dying medium take a part into your decision to take on that endeavor?
So for me, I did a book signing. I haven't penned it quite yet. We're still in the beginning phases. So it's me and my co-author, Dr. Jeremy C. McCool. He's an assistant professor at West Chester University and a hip hop scholar. Like, I couldn't have picked a better co-author partner in this endeavor, man. Because like, he'll
his
tell me,
name is fire.
Right.
Professor McCool.
His name is fire.
Yo,
Shout out to him, man.
Shout out Professor McCool.
Good. Bro,
Let's go.
solid dude. And I met him in July. So the fact that, like,
oh, wow.
I'll be honest too. I'll say this. Like, we had this, I don't know, are y'all cigar smokers?
I mean, I've smoked cigars before, but that should be fucking up in my throat.
It do.
Sometimes. My brother is big into cigars. He teaches me, but I'm not
it's
really
an acquired
there
taste.
yet.
It's an acquired taste.
It's an acquired taste.
You got to be a certain, and so he don't drink, you know what I'm saying? So like, that's his vice. And so we met for the first time at Cigar Code here in Philly, and he talked about it. Like, we talked about our favorite artists. He's a hip hop scholar. Like I said, he teaches courses in it. I was like, yo, I love Kendrick. I'm a Kendrick fan.
Shout out Kendrick, K-Dot.
Shout out Dot.
Yeah,
and so
I'm
he
a
was
Dot
like,
fan too.
I'm a Cole fan. I was like, okay, that's cute.
Yeah.
Like, whatever.
That's cute.
Like, whatever. Right? And so he was like, yo, how do you feel about like them together, like among the big three? Because Drake is in the big three in my eyes.
Yeah,
right? I know
he's got to be.
You feel me?
Thank you. Thank you.
You know what I'm saying?
Thank you.
But he ain't fucking with Dot. I'm gonna stop.
Scooter, don't get me started.
Yo,
Scooter, don't get me started. Don't get me started.
And so he was like, yo, what do you think about a book? I was like, yo, that's a dope idea. Like, I think talking about them simultaneously would be cool. They did Black Friday back in 2015 or something like that.
Maybe before that.
Yeah, honestly. Yeah. And their first song together was High Power.
Yeah.
And so I was like, yo, this is like a really dope concept. I'm thinking he's talking advanced, like years down the road. Right. This man, I'll give him his credit. He continued to bring it up, and I wasn't reluctant because I didn't think it was a good idea or that he wasn't a good partner to do it with. I was just like, yo, I have so much going on. I don't know if it's the right time. Right. Yeah. And so he continued to push for it until November.
Okay.
We put together a book proposal, sent it to our publishing company, Roman and Littlefield, like that we're working with on the project in December. By February, we got the project approved. Lit. Like, and then some negotiations. Damn, and a month later in March, we signed a book deal. So it all came together, partly because of that thing you were talking about, that frustration. I'm like, yo, I got to get to a bag elsewhere. Yeah. Anything can happen.
Right.
That's a fact. As we have seen crazy amounts in the last, few years. Mm-hmm. Anything can happen. You can be cut tomorrow on your day off.
Right. Yeah, so you got to secure your own thing. You got to do your own thing and start making your own wave and your own moves, because at the end of the day, we know how these corporations work. At the end of the day, like
they talked about it.
They got a bottom line.
And
if the bottom line doesn't consist of you in it, then you got to go.
And they're going to evolve too, because they see how digital has just taken over everything, man. Right. They're going to just cut because they can put their money towards these other systems of operations, man. Right. So you got to protect yourself.
And what they're looking for is somebody and I always tell like people that I mentor, I just connect with, you have to like have a journalistic toolbox. Like that's just, you have to be multifaceted. Yeah. Like if you don't know how to, for example, have a camera set up, do a stand up, like, and disseminate news in that way.
Yeah.
Like that's what they're looking for. They're looking for somebody that can do it all. And unfortunately, the pay ain't always there. So it's like, yo, in people's minds, including mine, I'm like, yo, you're asking me to do this, but yeah, you're not coughing up the bread. Like, there's something wrong with that in and of itself, though.
Nah, for sure. But speaking of Cole and K Dot, I mean, I feel like I'd be doing a disservice if I didn't talk about this, because there's a current beef going on, and people are feeling some type of way, and obviously J. Cole dropped his. Actually, K. Dot dropped the first. He was like, fuck the big three, it's just big me. And then Cole came out and dropped, a little something, little shot. Then later on came out and apologized.
Ooh.
How do you feel? Right? I guess the answer is right there. But how do you feel about the whole thing? And we were still waiting for Drake or whatever the case may be. How is this? Now that you're writing a book on both of them. How do you feel about that?
So I'm tight because we announced, me and my co-author,
right.
Dr. McCool, we announced the book on a Wednesday.
Right.
Like that came out 2 days later.
Oh, wow.
So it's like, yo, we're writing a book dedicated to both artists, and now Kendrick
now.
coming out firing off.
Right.
And so I think with the beef itself, mind you, it's called How J. Cole and Kendrick Lamar Saved Hip Hop. So obviously, it's almost as if it's a pairing, right? And so when he fired off, it was kind of like, damn, okay. Yeah. But as a hip hop fan, right? Especially with J. Cole's apology, bro. It's just for me, the competitive nature that we grew up admiring.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Again, I'm 27, so I wasn't an avid hip hop fan at this point, but seeing Jay-Z and Nas, for example, bro, people talk about that now, in ether, they turn that.
They
into,
still talk about it, bro.
Absolutely,
man. I remember shit. Obviously, Tupac and Big, right? But even LL Cool J and Cannabis, that was huge.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Cameron even has some words for Jay-Z. There's been a lot. And
Beanie Siegel,
right?
Jada Kiss,
50
and Kiss.
Yeah,
it's a thing, man. And not to cut you off, Scoop, but I feel like hip hop, it's entertainment. And I feel like we forget that hip hop is entertainment.
Nice.
It's equivalent to wrestling.
Yeah, it is.
It's wrestling, bro, because at the end of the day, you know why I say it's wrestling? Because half of the stuff these hip hop artists come out and talk about, it's not true.
Yeah.
It's fantasy.
And they create these personas
They create these personas because at the end of the day, that's what people relate to. That's what people gravitate to.
Facts.
So at the end of the day, for me, I did not like the Cole apology because it's kind of like, yo, bro, it's lyrical exercise.
It is.
And it's entertainment to the culture. Because at the end of the day, right now, I feel like hip hop is at a weird place.
It
bro.
needs something to give it some life.
Right. And I felt like by
life.
This, it gave it life. People were excited because it was falling to a space. It's kind of like we got these rappers, it's kind of like whatever. We just going to make this music and all that, whatever. And at the end of the day, we're losing to where it's like a lot of times everyone wants to be friends. Everyone wants to be homies. Yeah. We see it in the NBA after the game.
Oh, that shit drives me nuts.
We signing jerseys. We doing all nah, man. We can still make diss records and be tasteful. Yeah. We're not talking about a Big and Pop, talking about how I fucked your bitch.
Right.
All that. We could
still be tasteful.
That was real beef in a sense. You know what I'm saying? And that took two people's lives.
Yeah, facts.
That's not the case. This is lyrical exercise.
My fault.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was gonna say even the Pusha T and Drake was right. I don't know if they really have real beef in real life.
They don't like each other.
They probably don't like each other, but it was still the boundaries were pushed a little bit. It was good for rap, and we got some good rap out of it.
Correct.
I think Pusha got the best of Drake from a rap standpoint, but
he had dirt though.
He had dirt. He had dirt.
Shock value.
Exactly. Shock value. So that was good. And this feels like elementary school playground shit with J. Cole apologizing and all that stuff. And this. Kendrick just had a verse. It wasn't even a song. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
It wasn't even a song. Right. So I was torn with J. Cole's apology. Most of me is like, man, that's some weak shit, bro. But if from a human standpoint, from what he said, if it's not sitting right in his soul, that's cool. I think you could save that shit. Don't get no speech at Dreamville. Man, come on, bro.
Right. I feel like all that could have been solved with a tweet. Like
easy a tweet. That's exactly what I was going to say.
You know what I mean? I called K Dot. I apologize for the shit. It's not sitting with my soul. Sorry, y'all. You mean like that's my homie. I fucks with him, and I would have been like, cool. But to sit down and give a whole sermon
at a show
about your feelings, like come
go
on,
to therapy.
Man. Come on, man.
I wasn't rocking with it, bro. And like this is again, like I'm deeply entrenched into the music. Like I write about this every day, like outside of the Inquiry, like for Grammy.com, MTV News when it was bubbling. Like all of this is like a part of me. Like, this is something I'm passionate about, and just knowing its history. You know what I mean? Like it's just crazy how, because Kendrick is not coming, like you said, to your point, he's not coming talking super personal. He not gonna run down on you with a, you know what I mean? Like we're not talking violence. Like we're just talking about competitive nature. And for Cole to kind of like tuck his tail just when and I was just on Spotify. 7-Minute Drill is not even on the album anymore.
I think they took it. I think they took it down today.
Yeah, so
I think they took it down today,
bro. It's a little like I understand like the rumblings that I had with my homies is like Cole is too nice. Like this is kind of out of character, but at the same time, it's just like come on, bro. It's hip hop.
It's hip hop. It's hip hop, and you can't. And I feel like you're doing the people a disservice. You're doing the culture a disservice by not being because the thing is, I have so much respect for Cole. Obviously, he's on my wall. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I have the three of them on my wall because I have so much respect for him. So it's kind of like you're doing the people a disservice by not being the lyrical person that you are. And same as K Dot. K Dot is such a lyrical machine. You know what I mean? He's a lyrical monster. So for you not to take that round to exercise that, it breaks my heart, bro.
You gonna take the Cole poster down?
You know what? You know what? I'm gonna be honest with you. I was seconds away from taking Cole off my wall, kid. I couldn't really listen. Yo, ever since he apologized, I can't really listen to his music like that, like, cause it hurt me.
Yeah,
it hurt, cause I'm just like, yo, fam, you're not giving. I get it. You don't have to entertain the people in a sense.
You really don't.
But you're in the.
But you do though.
But you're in the entertainment business,
right? You know
what I'm saying? And this is why I dropped the mic. Like, you're in the entertainment business. Yeah. Boom. That's it.
I had to run KOD yesterday just to make me feel better about that.
Classic though.
Yeah, classic. Yeah. I don't understand the hate it gets, man. I just don't get it. KOD was fire.
Yeah. Bro, I think every track, like I can sit with.
Front to back.
Front to back, I can sit with. Like I think like for me, and it was a good recovery from what's that joint he had before?
For Your Eyes Only.
I hated that album.
I didn't hate it. It was sleepy though. It was
sleepy though.
Yeah. It was very lackluster. Yeah. It was like he had bars, but the beats were very
because he produced all the fucking tracks.
It was very.
Yeah. He was sad, man. He was sad. Yeah. He was reminiscing on his homie too that died. So I couldn't hate it. And I'm a sleepy nigga too, so I wasn't really too mad.
Thank God you're not in LA no more, because that's sleepy town right there, boy.
For real, man.
Right.
But I do got a question to stay on this beat for a second. Do we give Drake like a time limit? Does this nigga have like a deadline he needs to turn this song in? Because we going on 2-3 weeks now.
Bro need to be on offense. Like, I don't know what he doing. He's sleepy.
He fucking he said Twitter fingers turn to trigger fingers, and all he doing is writing captions.
Like, come on. Like, bro, again, this is hip hop. Like,
it's hip hop.
Drake is as much a pop star as he is a rapper, but in essence though, he permeates hip hop culture. So like, you can't have a Metro, a Future, a Kendrick link up, diss you, and then you not say nothing. And then, like, shit, they dissing you on the new joint that they just posted today. So it's just
the
like,
clip should be loaded at all
times.
You're the biggest star in the game, bro.
I feel like Drake feels like he's the new Jay-Z. And Jay, obviously with Nas came at him, he did the jab. Drake has did the jab with Meek. He's done the jab with Push. He's kind of like, yo, I'll respond when I want to respond.
But they did the jab first on first-person shooter mode, John.
Did they?
Yeah, for sure.
You mean, I don't know. You mean, because in first-person shooter, it's you know, Cole says the big three.
Yeah.
The big three. You mean, so it's
but if you're looking at the Spider-Man meme bar, too, like, it's just them two looking at each other.
I mean, I guess, but as... You know, K-Dot's one of them.
Of course. He is him.
Even if you don't want to, you know K-Dot's one of them because K-Dot moves the needle.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I have my own gripes with K-Dot because he takes so long to put out music.
Yo.
Fam, you don't take 5 years.
5 years, nuts.
But he's your artist.
Right.
He is, though.
Right.
So he gonna sit with it. He says sometimes it take him like 4 months to write a verse. Like,
I mean, I get it, but that's where I have my appreciation.
I feel that.
That's why I have my appreciation for Drake.
He pulling out quality from a clip.
He constantly drops music. He's been doing for summer after summer. I'll drop 2 albums in 1 year. You gotta appreciate that because at the end of the day,
real.
it's because you think about it. It's kind of like as an artist, it's like I can potentially drop a dud. Because every artist tries to take the safe route. Every artist tries to like, you know what, I'm going to drop this. That sounds the same, blah, 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 blah. I feel like that's the problem with certain artists like Meek and other artists. It's kind of like
Pusha T.
Push. Yeah. It's like, yo, dog, I'm tired of the cocaine raps. I'm tired of the hood raps. Drop something different. That's why when Drake dropped the techno album, we would call it.
Honestly, never mind. I love that shit.
Did you?
I did.
Earl, this is what we disagree, Earl.
I loved it because it was different. Because I feel like Drake was doing the same shit for so long.
It was different. The sad boy raps. You mean, you know.
How many times are you gonna get broken hearted, man? You're the biggest star in the world.
Yeah.
I just feel like, and that's actually the problem. I feel like we see Drake too often. That's actually, it's an oversaturation.
And that's why I
of Drake.
respect Kendrick.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like Kendrick, like he said it in like that. Prince outlived Mike Jack. What I took from it is, I'm really on a different artistic level than you other two. Period. And it's evident in every stanza I have and every bar that I compile. Like, I'm different. And that's how I feel. Obviously, I'm biased. I'm a Kendrick fan. I feel like he can murk anybody.
Ain't nobody fucking with Kendrick.
He can put the nuke down and just go crazy. And like, for him to have a verse alone, and you pointed to it, and for it to shake up the culture the way it did, a verse, a song and an album that is not his own.
7 Minute Drill was like a 5-minute record.
And it was. And for me, Cole, I love Cole too. He wasn't saying nothing.
He wasn't saying shit.
If you're going to attack his catalog, bro, this is the wrong person to do that with.
Especially when you drop For Your Eyes Only. You can't call nobody shit sleepy,
can't, bro.
But see, the thing is, like, but see, the thing is, though, like, now we listen 7 Minute Drill and Cole coming out with apology, you realize, like, maybe he didn't really have his heart into it.
He didn't. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It sounded like he didn't.
You know what I'm saying? He didn't really have his heart into it because had he had his heart into it, it's kind of like, yo, this is real beef. This is warfare. Like, I'm coming for your neck. We probably would have got a better verse. We probably didn't even need a song. We probably would have just got a verse.
Or just like 64 bars.
Right.
Going
you know what I'm saying?
straight. Yeah.
So for me, it's like, I think Drake is coming. I
feel like it's too late, man.
Nah, it ain't never too late.
Dog, it's like weeks later, bro.
It don't matter. You mean y'all gonna wait for this? Y'all gonna wait for
like
this?
2 haircuts into this beef, dog.
I think it's gonna happen, and I think
it's wild.
In all honesty, man, I think it's gonna happen, and I think it's good for the culture, man. I think
it is too.
I think so.
I think we need to shake it up. I think we need to have some type of beef to where it's like we're entertained. Because honestly, man, like the music has been boring to me.
It's been boring. And what's crazy about it, like last year we celebrated 50th anniversary of hip-hop.
Yep.
And for a time, for months, several months, I don't think it was until Lil Uzi's The Pink Tape that a hip-hop album landed at #1, top in the Billboard charts that year.
Yeah.
That's a span or like something we haven't seen in decades.
Facts.
Like, and so
that's a fact.
There's a lull. There's an issue. Like, there's something missing from the nucleus of hip hop. And I think that's also what inspired the book. And just the idea that, hip hop needs some resurgence in some way, whatever it is.
Clear. Boom.
Yeah, right.
You know?
Facts.
Yeah.
Facts.
So you cover artists around the city?
I cover not as often as I should.
Okay.
I cover more like fine artists, like painters, like people within that realm a lot more than I do musical artists. So we have a music or pop music critic, and his name is Dan DeLuca. He does a really good job. But oftentimes I find we do too many national acts. We need to do national acts when it comes to the city. You know what I'm saying? But I think we need to like talk more about like, bring up our artists, highlight them more, like that are born bred in a part of the city.
Right. Because I do feel there's a lot of Philly artists when it comes to music, but they don't really get that much love. You know what I'm saying?
We were talking about it off camera. They don't get much love. Like we talked about with Miles too last episode. It's a lot of gatekeeping going on.
Right.
But there's a lot of talent in the city, man.
Right.
Who are some of your you tapped into the city?
Not
obviously.
as much as I need to be. Like what's
It's hard though.
old bull's name? Q. What is it? Kwani. I fuck.
Yeah.
If y'all know him, I fuck with his music. Skrilla, I heard about. You know what I'm saying? I tapped in. I actually went to him through people in Texas that I was cool with, and they were like, "Yo, check out this dude." And so I'm not tapped in as much as I need to be. I know certain artists. I'm trying to think of my man's name. But he does a lot of Jersey drill, Philly drill type of stuff. I interviewed.
That's popping in the city.
Yeah. I interviewed Tierra Whack not too long ago. She is super cool.
That's what's up.
And she puts on for the city
she
a
does.
lot. She's an ambassador in a lot of ways, and I think she's gonna go extremely far because she has a level of creativity that I haven't seen in a while.
Yeah.
So
her marketing team is dope. I know them over at Interscope. They fire.
Oh yeah,
they're fired. Their marketing team is everything they're doing with Tierra Whack is amazing, bro. Even down to the wig party and all that shit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that shit is fire.
That's fire. That's
super
fire.
dope.
Yeah, but to go back to the book. So, what's the name of the book? Did you come up with a name, or what's happening? What's the name? You gotta drop the name. You gotta let us know what's that.
So the working title is How J. Cole and Kendrick Lamar Saved Hip Hop.
Okay.
My mistake was thinking that I could come up with the book title.
Titles are tough, bro.
Titles are tough, bro. I'm one of them writers. I'd make decent headlines. So I'm okay, this can't be too difficult. But I came up with some trash names. But the first name when we had on the proposal was The Fall of Socially Conscious Rap, J. Cole and Kendrick Lamar Save Hip Hop. That's obviously a contradiction. It's the fall of socially conscious rap, but how they save hip hop. And so that didn't work.
Yeah.
So I was in my scrapbook. I was like, yo, what can we come up with? I was like, yo, they're titans, when it comes to socially conscious rap and just rap, period.
Facts. Yeah.
Tale of Two Titans.
Ooh.
I was like, I talked to my co-author. He's like, fuck no. That's not gonna work.
That shit sound like some Iliad and the Odyssey shit.
Right. It's only a video game, bro. We couldn't do that. So that was one that I just
it wasn't bad.
It's not bad. It's not bad.
It's not bad.
But you wouldn't get hip hop from that.
You wouldn't. You would be like, yo.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
I get it.
Yeah.
So we're still trying to come up with something that's solid. And we have until we have a year to write this.
Okay.
It comes out in 2026, so we got some time to fine tune, you know what I mean, and get it together. But as far as names goes, bro, I'm gonna leave it to fate. It's gonna find its way.
As far as legal goes, can you use their stage names in the title of your book?
Yes, you can. And so we're still trying to find other things because there's so many elements to that. You can only use a certain amount or length of lyrics in it, you know, and there's certain things, images, that's a big thing we have to be conscious of. So it's a big project, man. I'm excited. We're starting it and getting everything etched out now, but I'm excited. And I think it's going to give some spark to the culture too. That's what I'm excited about.
Right. People need to know, and just to get that different perspective on what these two artists have done for the culture. Facts. And I feel a lot of times, with Cole and Kendrick, they're underappreciated.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So to highlight that, I think that's definitely a big deal, and I think a lot of people definitely appreciate that.
I liken it to how for example, LeBron James, again, Ohio connection, everything. I'm biased. That's my man's. That's the GOAT to me. Okay. And so once he retires, he steps away from the game, which is it seems like it's very close.
Next few years, yeah.
I think when we get to a point where Kendrick and Cole kind of step away, we're gonna look at it the same way as when LeBron hangs up his jersey. These are people that aren't appreciated enough, that make things happen, and his greatness is understated. And so I think a book like this it's about legacy for me and my family. That's what I had in mind going into it. But more than anything, this is going to be a book I'm hoping that people go back to, whether they agree, disagree, whatever the case, they go back to it and say, yo, this was a place in history and hip hop history that we can always, look back on and appreciate.
And it helps keep their greatness and their legacy alive too.
Absolutely.
That's lit. So speaking of, getting close to retirement, who's gonna take over the face of the NBA when LeBron leaves, and when we lose the Kendricks, the Coles, and the Drakes? Who's gonna take over the face of rap and hip hop?
Because I don't see
anybody.
I don't see anyone you can pass the torch to. At least not right now.
Not as the face. There's a lot of good rappers out there, but the face of hip hop, I don't know.
I couldn't even tell you. Like I think
couldn't tell you neither.
At one point, like I would say, while he's at like kind of cold right now musically, I think Chance was like looked at one point.
I thought he was gonna be next.
I thought he was gonna be next. I thought he was
was.
gonna be next. Like,
I don't really know what happened to him because he had a buzz. But I feel like his only real song that really popped was like, you wanna follow with me.
Yeah.
I feel like that was it because it was
Commercially,
commercially, that was only it. So it's kind of like, I don't know whether the label was kind of like, all right, we good off of him. We don't know if he's disgruntled.
Nigga got married. Nigga got married and got comfortable.
Exactly.
But you don't know whether behind the scenes if he's a disgruntled employee. He's hard to work with. People don't want to work with him, so you don't really know. But
that's a fact.
I thought he had that. I thought he was next up.
I thought he was next up, and I think the misstep was The Big Day, which was about him. He's rapping. He's making an album, a concept album about him getting married. And there were some hits, like there were some songs on it that I rock with. But me listening to it, I'm like, yo, this isn't the Chance that people fell in love with. It's not. I was a big time fan with acid rap.
Yeah.
And it's toxic in essence because you're like, yo, get back on that shit. Like,
make
your best.
Yeah,
But
and artists hate that shit.
they hate it.
They hate
have
that.
to.
Like I did that already. Like it's gone. We moving on. But I mean, that's why the fans rock with you. Right. I really like Coloring Books. Like that. I still listen to that album. I went to the show and the show was fire. Like, but you're right. Like that's the You Don't Want No Problem With Me was like his biggest hit.
Yeah, won a Grammy for that, John.
Damn, man, I really want to say like it should be Big Sean, but he's kind of in that same age group with Drakes and Kendricks and stuff.
Yeah, I feel like nowadays instead of having like one or a couple of big artists, it's just a group of good artists.
Yeah.
I think that's where we at. And it's the same thing with the NBA. Instead of having that LeBron, we're going to have our Shays. We're going to have our Lucas.
Ant-Man.
We're going to have Ant-Man. And
Jason Tatum.
We'll have a culmination of that until we get that one person.
That breaks through on his own.
But this is what we're going to do. We're going to raise all these guys to be that. You know?
That dude Shay is crazy.
No, Shay is nuts.
Shay is nice. Joker, like there's a lot. There's a lot of young guys in the league, man.
Right. So I think that's what's gonna. It's the same thing with rap,
with hip hop.
I could say Ant. I could like in a basketball like concept. I could see Ant becoming that, yo. Like he just has the personality as a game.
Correct.
He looked like Jordan a little bit.
Right.
He got
Like
that dog,
man. He got that
dog. He had that charisma
bro.
to where it's kind of like.
And he gonna go to war every night.
Every night.
He gonna
He's
dunk
still young.
on you. Yeah, he's still young. He's like what? Young. He's not even 25, is he?
No.
Nah.
I think he's like
Jason Tatum is like 25, 26.
Which is crazy. I feel like he's been in the league for a decade.
Correct.
He's been in the last 4 of the last 5 Eastern Conference championships.
Like insane, bro.
Right. Yeah. Nah.
It's wild.
Yeah. So now that you're a Philly native, you know, what's one of the things you would love to see different in Philly? I mean, I think, you know, our podcast is all about, you know, it's called 7 p.m. in Philly, and we want what's best for Philly. And you're a reporter, you're in, you know, in that space, and I'm sure you hear things about Philly, how people, all the stuff that happens in Philly. What's one of the things you would want to see change in Philadelphia?
So I think from a personal standpoint, I don't know if this is going to ruffle feathers or not. It seems pretty obvious to me. I would want Kensington to get cleaned up ASAP.
We talk about we talk about this very
It's obvious, right?
We just talked about this off air right before you came. So, yeah.
Yeah, like, and Mayor Sherelle L. Parker, like, that's her big initiative. On her 100th day in office, she went to Kensington, took the train and everything. I think she took the L up there.
Yeah.
She took the L, yep.
Yeah, and for me, like, that's what I want to see, just more representation. I just want it to be cleaned up. Like, people almost joke about how bad it is online.
They do joke about how bad it is.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's a stain in the city. And I think along with that, I want to see a more vivacious, like, nightlife scene. Like, I talked about it a little earlier, but ideally, like, with me interviewing and talking to the nightlife mayor, which I didn't even know was a thing until I moved here, Raheem Manning. Super good dude, fraternity brother of mine, man. Yeah, bro, tap in with him. Like he knows his stuff. Like he'll even probably kick it with y'all and take y'all on like a nightlife tour and everything.
That's awesome.
And so like he's pushing for like later nights, safer environments.
Yeah,
like that will make in turn in time like Philadelphia the international city it can be. We have all the resources. We have great food, great people, great bars, restaurants, everything.
Yeah.
Sports. It's just a means of just putting it all together. And one thing I want to see also on top of those things is for Philly to fully accept that it is its own entity. Like, take pride in it.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like a lot of Philadelphians, like, especially when I moved here, they knew that I was from Ohio or elsewhere, Texas. They'd be like, yeah, Philly is nice, but like, you know, it's no New York or DC.
I was just gonna say the same shit,
and it's true.
Yeah,
but
but
it's like, yo, you're Philly. Like when my family came to visit me, they were like immersed into this. They were blown away by its history. It's everything that it had to encompass. And so I feel like the more that Philadelphia leans into what it is, the better it will like really invest into the city itself.
Yeah. Yeah, because you got New York stuff closed down like 4 a.m. DC's like 3:30. You know, the nightlife is vivacious, and like even I think they really got to get with a PA because PA being a Commonwealth, you know, liquor stores close at 10 o'clock. Restaurants usually kitchens got to close by a certain time. So I think it's going to be a tough fight, but it's worth the fight for sure.
Absolutely. I do think Philadelphia has so much potential, and I could feel it.
Yeah.
I can feel it, and I feel like it's just that one step away from being one of the big major cities that it really should be.
Yeah.
You know, and to be in competition with the New Yorks, the DCs, and the other big cities. You know what I'm saying?
Chicago.
I mean,
Yeah.
so it's like for me, it's just like I think it's one step away. I just think the people have to really want it, and obviously Philadelphia has to become safer. It has to become safer.
Yes.
We have to put some laws in place. Kensington definitely needs to be cleaned up. I mean, shit, I don't live too far from it, so it's like, and people hit me up, be like, "Yo, did you see this?" I'm like, "Yeah, I don't live too far from it. I see that shit all the damn time.
See it every day.
I mean, I see it every day,
Yeah.
and it's sad because it's kind of like, you know, when you see these people out there, they look at them like they're a piece of trash and they dehumanize them like they're not human. And you know what I mean? And, you know, not everyone becomes a drug addict because, you know, they just rolled out of bed and say, hey, I want to become a drug addict. There's certain circumstances that led you to that. I mean, the opioid crisis that led to that.
Predisposed from birth.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, or, you know, I fell, I hurt my back, and then they just kept giving me drugs. And then, like, now I'm out here because I'm addicted to it because the government gave it to me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, you know, it's all that. So we got to look at these people like they're human and try to help them create that.
Absolutely.
I mean, and for me, is create the system for the youth out here, because they're the ones that I'm scared of. I mean,
Yeah, no, honestly.
I ain't scared of the adults. I'm scared of your youth. But at the end of the day, for me, it's just like we got to continue to help that, create these libraries, create the programs to help these kids out so they have somewhere to go after school. Because if there's nothing else to get into, they're gonna find something else.
They're gonna find something else, man.
So I definitely agree with you, Earl, with that. We definitely need to continue to help out Kensington and continue to grow and help Philly and to create, you know, to be the place that it really needs to be.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so
it deserves it, man.
Yeah, man.
Before we get out of here, man, just let the people know where to be on the lookout for the book, everything you got, how they can find you and tap in with you, because I feel like you offer a lot of value to the city and the artists and, you know, the communities and everything, man. So plug yourself away, bro.
Yes, absolutely. Go to Earl Hopkins _ on Instagram, on Twitter. Go to Earl Hopkins _15. Go to earlhopkins.com. I post all the stories and highlights of what I do in the community and beyond on that website. So definitely tap in. And the website will also be promoted on that as well. But yeah, any way I can help the city, man, let me know. I'm always taking story ideas, any way I can help and be of service to this beautiful city, man. I'm always down to do it. So definitely reach out.
Respect, bro.
That's what's up. Scoot, you got anything before we get out of here, man?
Nah, man. Thank you for pulling up, bro. You know, you keep doing what you're doing, bro.
Earl.
Straight up.
Thank you, bro.
No,
This
thank y'all.
is great, man. It's refreshing
It is.
to see someone, a brother, at least come through and show love. You didn't have to come in.
No, I had to. I had to.
You didn't have to come in because, you know, Lynn's brought it to you and be like, yo, you pull up. You know, we got this good thing going. You could have been like, yeah, no, well, fuck them. I ain't coming in. I mean, it's Friday night. I got something to do. I'm going to go to Blind Barber. You know what I'm saying? Right. You know what I'm saying? So for you to pull up, man, and show love, man, I definitely appreciate you, man. This is what we need as a culture to support each other and help each other out. So definitely salute to you, Earl, and I thank you so much for gracing us here at 7 p.m. in Philly. But with that being said, y'all, thank y'all for tuning in for another episode of 7 p.m. in Philly.
Yes, sir.
I'm your host, Steve. That's Earl. That's Scoot. And we out this beat.
Salute, we out. Yes, sir.
Yeah.